Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Tuesday, May 7, 2019 session in our series on entrepreneurship in Asian high-tech industries. Today, we're going to address a topic, an aspect of the ecosystem for entrepreneurship that has not been well known for success in Japan. We're going to look at the role of large companies in partnering with startup companies and what kind of an impact that can have on the ecosystem for startup company success in a country like Japan. Remember, we've talked about this on several sessions in this series already. Very first session with Tim Romero, we talked about how the Japanese large companies, remember Tim was acting as the CTO for the venture capital investments inside Tokyo Electric Power Company. So we've had a little bit to do with this before, but I'm delighted that we have a speaker who has really dedicated his recent career to establishing an ecosystem for research and development from the standpoint of a major Japanese corporation. So our speaker today is Mr. Motoo Nishihara, who is the CTO, Chief Technology Officer of NEC Corporation. He's had this role since last month. And before he was CTO, which is really not only in charge of all of the research and development activities inside NEC, he's also responsible for innovation strategy and also technology investment management of the company's intellectual properties. So he will be concerned today not only with inbound open innovation, how to obtain new knowledge and partnership with startup companies for the sake of the company's the NEC strategy, but also outbound technology open innovation, which is a part of the Chesbrough model for open innovation, but it's not talked about so much. So I'm really looking forward to see how this plays out today. His, Mr. Nishihara's previous job before he was CTO was to be the Senior Vice President in charge of the Central Research Labs at NEC, which included not only the main lab in Japan, but also laboratories in the United States, China, Singapore, and Germany. Before that, he held general manager positions in research, including cloud system research and also system platform research. And before that, he was involved in R&D. He also has experience in product development, and he has experience in the business divisions, the business units at NEC. He got his master's in computer engineering at electrical computer engineering from Carnegie Mellon, and his bachelor's from the University of Tokyo in mathematical engineering and information physics. While he was in his senior VP role in charge of NEC Labs, first of all, he established new labs in Israel and also in India, and he started to focus on this whole kind of ecosystem concept. And today we're going to hear about how he's using this concept to really speed up innovation inside NEC with partnerships with startup companies. And I should let Nishihara-san tell the rest. Thanks very much for coming today. We're very happy that you can be here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I should use my glasses.
So can I start?
Okay.
Okay. So thank you for introduction of me and Professor Dasher. And I'd like to talk about NEC's new strategy for inbound, outbound of innovation. And first of all, I have one question for you. And how many of you have never heard of NEC until today? Show hand, honestly. Oh, really?
I saw one hand.
So you know NEC very well? Okay, I don't have jobs here. Okay, yeah, it's a very happy surprise for me. Okay, and next one. Okay. Just a moment. Doesn't seem to work well. Yeah. I'm sorry. There is some misconfiguration, and so before starting the content of the discussion, I would like to introduce some of the NEC, what is the NEC profile, and please see me that this short video.
Orchestrating a brighter world, NEC.
Now, you are a little bit increase the knowledge about NEC. and the NEC is the first joint venture between Japan and the United States. And we established in 1899. I'd like to see this picture. This is a picture of the employee of Thomas Edison machine working, which is Thomas Edison's company. And this guy, his name is Mr. Iwadare. He's the only Japanese person who worked under the Thomas Edison. So he's the founder of NEC. And so which means that NEC has very good relationship and a very original connection to the United States and the venture spirit. And then when he came back to Japan, he started the business importing the United States product like a telephone and the telecommunication equipment and the network infrastructure equipment. That's the history of NEC. And now NEC is now focusing on making a social value creation. And we defined the 3 domain areas, and we try to make a social solution. And those topics are pretty related with the SDGs activity formulated by United Nations. And now, I would like to see this
Today,
picture.
society is facing major challenges arising from rapid increase in world population, inequalities in economic and resource distribution, and more. NEC is already working to optimize available resources to bring happiness to people, using biometrics to ensure meals for children, raising agricultural productivity via e-vouchers. Our desire is to work together with our valued partners and customers to co-create solutions that address social challenges to help realize NEC Safer Cities. Creating a more safe and secure society for everyone, including watch list detection by facial recognition. Helping to build a society that offers equal opportunities and efficient services. Enabling a pleasant and stress-free lifestyle. NEC provides diverse solutions from the ocean floor to outer space. And its global operations enable co-creation on every continent. NEC is a global leader in ICT. Its unique #1 innovative technologies in biometrics and AI underpin solutions for society that create new social value. Together, for a brighter future.
Orchestrating a Brighter World, NEC.
Yes, NEC is a company to make a social solution. As shown in this video, NEC pays particular attention to providing safer cities and value chain innovation. So NEC will endeavor to create diverse social value by promoting businesses in these two sectors. And so I will show us some of the examples of what we're doing. And by the year 2050, and the urban population is going to 1.6 times more than the current population. So do you know what that means? This means that the increase of the movement of the people and the things, and also the increase of the crime and dangers and terrorism. So obviously, for the safe and secure urban cities, we need a public safety system and a smart transport system and the digital government system. And now NEC is trying to create those kind of systems by the AI technology and the ICT and the IoT technologies. This is the example in Tigre, Argentina. So can you believe 80% reduction vehicle theft after implementing our surveillance solution? The solution was enabled by our image recognition technology with some other AI technologies. Another example is the labor shortage problem. There is a serious lack of manpower in the retail industry in advanced countries like Japan, where stores must be operated efficiently using a minimal manpower. We provide a solution of a labor-less type store which enhances both of customer experience and operational excellence. In customer experience, NEC provides walk-through entering and registerless payment for customers by bio-identification technology. And NEC also provides recommendation of product for each customer through digital signage system. In operation excellence, NEC reduced the labor load of store operation by introducing an AI purchase clerk who estimates the customer needs and IoT facility management system. So salesperson can focus more on the customer relations. And this is a couple of the examples, but we have a lot of activity all over the world for enhancing a social problem and social solutions. And this is the background of NEC, what the NEC is doing in the business sector. So now I'd like to talk about the R&D sector, introduction of NEC Laboratories. We have 7 research laboratories all over the world, including the United States. We have 2 laboratories in the United States and Germany and Israel and India, Singapore and China and Japan. 100,000 researchers working on all over the world. And research area is like this one, AI and platform. Since our direction is the social value creation, which means that basically we have to visualize the real world. And based on the visualization, we have to analyze and make some kind of prescription for the social value. And those sectors, visualize, analysis, prescription, is pretty much compatible function with AI. So data science is the most important technology inside the NEC. And those process is also accomplished by computing, network security, and high reliable computing, and broadband networking, and the secure system is supporting the AI processing. So our technology research is focusing on those areas. And this is the slide of our NEC's AI technologies: visualization, analysis, prescription. And most of the technology have been achieved by NEC Laboratories. And we call that the brand name NEC the Wise. It's a technology brand name. I would like to touch on the performance of our technologies. This is the achievement of a conference presentation. In artificial intelligence areas, we checked that all papers in the most highly ranked conferences, and we positioned the number 5 in the total area from 2000. And if you look at over 3 years, we have NEC's position is ranked 8th. And I think the size of the company and the domain of the NEC's business areas, so NEC's performance is a pretty good one. And not only the AI, we have a very good achievement in the security area, networking area. So that is a condition of the academic conference achievement. And I'd like to introduce and show our researchers. And some of the researchers is very, very famous. And for example, Hiroshi Maoka, he's a Japanese. He's a leader of face recognition. And NEC achieved the 4th consecutive #1 benchmarking in NIST. And Manmohan is a leader of visual recognition. He's also the professor of University of California, San Diego. And Hans Peter is the inventor of the torch, which is a very famous OSS, and others. And also, I would like to point out that the former NEC's employees, you know, the Jan Lucan, he won the ACM Turing Award last year, and he was an NEC employee, and he worked in the NEC Laboratories America. And Vladimir Babnik is the inventor of support vector machine. He also was a NEC employee. And Mr. Nakamura, he's one of the basic quantum computing's inventions. So I'd like to point out, we have a very good research record and research people here. So my job is how to monetize, how to make a business based on those people's output. Then I think you have known much of the NEC's performance, NEC's capability. Then I would like to deep down in the NEC's new strategy of innovation. As you see, inbound of innovation is very important for large companies. But this is very typical cases. Large company invest the startups and incorporate their technology inside NEC to make solutions. So inbound open innovation is for expanding value of NEC solutions. As a CTO, I have found I invest venture capital, venture businesses to make a new collaboration of a business unit of NEC. This is very important, and I'm very looking for the further collaboration with the startups, especially in Silicon Valley. But it is every company is doing this one. Then I would like to talk about the outbound of innovation. And this is what makes NEC so special and so unique right now. I don't see any other large company to do this type of the outbound of innovation. I know there are so many startups, so many spin-outs in the Silicon Valley. But what I try to say in this presentation is slightly different from the style of the Silicon Valley. First of all, I'd like to share my understanding of the problem in large companies. The first problem is where are the talented people? Obviously, startup company, maybe they have a lot of talented people. They make an innovation, they make a good startups, they make something good businesses. I agree with that. But also, there are so many good people, talented people in large corporations, especially in Japan or other countries. Because Japan doesn't have so much large venture capital startup market. Then the people, good talented people, are forced to work in the large company. The problem is, these people in the startup had much opportunity to talk, to discuss with many variety of the market people, but large companies people, talented people, are hidden in the large organization. They don't have so much opportunity to talk with many diverse marketing people. That's one condition. The other one is speediness. I think that in the large company like NEC, have the very rigid, very structured process to commercialize the technology into products. And that process is very, very efficient and important for mission critical system and also a large infrastructure system, something like that. It is good for current and legacy business. However, in a new business area, like AI or new type of the business area, it takes too long to commercialize. So when I talk with some of the researchers in the NEC, he's one of the top researchers all over the world in the AI field. He said that 2 years ago, I talked with him. He said that his technology is the number one. But however, probably in 2 years, a competitor will come out. So which means that unless we can make a commercialize the technology into product in 2 years, we lose. And best research output is meaningless. So how to accelerate the commercialization process is very important. especially for a large company. So there are two constraints. Then NEC has started a new concept of R&D ecosystem here. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. And NEC, as I said, NEC has a good talented research and the cutting-edge technology, AI, network security, and we have a very good business opportunities in the current businesses. And we will continue on the close discussion in here to maintain and to increase the current business. However, that in a new business or new technology domain, this is not enough. So we decided to expose those technology to the outside people. If you look at the outside people, some people have a very good knowledge about the customers' needs. Some people have a very good knowledge about the businesses. And maybe also the academia people have a very good talent. And also we can incorporate the external fund. So normally, technologies, research in the large corporation is working inside the company and collaborate with only the business person inside the NEC. In the current business case, it's okay. But the new cases, we need other knowledge and capability to collaborate with us. And maybe some researchers make a spin out through this process, and it's okay. Still, NEC can get the good output from here, capital gain. Or maybe we can accelerate the commercialization process more than the doing inside NEC. And in case of the startups, like Silicon Valley, maybe I think that, in my understanding, I may be wrong, but in my understanding, people have the good technology and the good ambition, leave that company, but because their technology is non-core technology for that company. So there is some conflict to the people's mind and the current companies. Then they will leave out that situation. But in this case, it's totally different. We expose core technology business out here. Because as I point out,
Before you leave that slide, Nishihara-san, so go back to the previous slide, would you?
this one,
So, right, that one. So basically, inside the research lab, the researcher thinks of a real-world use case, or does the idea come from outside?
this one,
Yeah. The real-world use case in the circle. Does that come from where?
where?
Yeah. Does that coming from the people from the outside, or does it come from the researcher?
I think it's from the outside in this
Okay.
cases. And
Okay.
I mean, any research requires the real world use cases.
Right.
And this guy has a real use case inside the NEC.
Right.
But the real use case is only limited in the channel to the NEC's business opportunity.
But of course, it's much more powerful if you can get the business knowledge
Yes.
and the market needs all
Yes.
from the partners outside.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
That's right. And also, I'd like to point out the previous slide. And the point is that how to utilize the manpower resources in a large company, and how to monetize at maximum this one. And also how to accelerate the speed. And both problems can be solved not inside the large company, but through the outside. So which means that the core technology and the core value and the core direction is not only finish this one, but also can be
Right.
through this one. And that is slightly different from the spin out cases of non-core technology from large company to outside. And I will show the example of this one. It's a dot data. It's a new company. And this person seems to be younger, but he's actually young. He's an NEC person. He was an NEC person, and he's a very top, one of the top researchers. He's his name is Fujimaki, and he's the youngest executive in NEC. And but we decided to. He leads at a new company outside NEC, and we support this one because we think that in order to, by doing this, we can accelerate the process of the commercialization of a technology, core technology. And actually, now he left NEC and he's the CEO of the new company. But the point is, NEC has a very good relationship with his company because it's not a kind of separate push out. It's more like a strategic collaboration, friendship scheme of the large company, of the new startups company. And as I said, NEC provides intellectual property, software, people, capital to the dot data new company. And they will feedback, capital gain, reselling right of the product. And this company also incorporates the capital or people from outside. So as I point out, maximize my monetization speed of cutting-edge core technology outside the NEC as an independent company. That is a new type of the spin-out, new type of the carve-out scheme. And also, I think this is a very good opportunity for the startup people because we can incorporate any kind of social solution cannot be done on one technology. We need a multiple integration of the technology. So that through the process of the outbound, also we have to incorporate many other technology outside. And the whole process is primarily done only inside a large company, but in this case, those process is done outside a large company, which means that there are so much opportunity for even for other startups company, other venture capital company, other partners company. So how to accelerate those kind of the movement? And so NEC established the name the new company NECX. So NECX is the primary goal is incorporate NEC's outbound technology here, and also incorporate the outside startups innovation and make a new solution. And NECX has been launched within the Silicon Valley ecosystem to enable rapid business deployment based on cutting-edge laboratory technology seeds.
So is NEC only in Silicon Valley, or do you also have NECX in Japan too?
Yeah, this one NEC. NECX is a new company and is located in the Menlo Park.
Okay.
And that was established, I think, 6 months ago or something.
Last year, July.
Yeah, so I would like to introduce the CEO of NEC. His name is Shigeo Ihara. Please say something to the audience.
Yes. Thank you, Nishihara-san, to introduce me. And this is Shigeo Ihara, the CEO of NEC.
Okay, that's okay.
NECX. And yeah, as Nishihara-san mentioned, NECX was established last year. And as he mentioned, that our mission is to generate new business based on NEC Labs, the advanced technology in the US market, chase to create the second dot data type of new business, you know. And I think that NEC labs have very good technology, but I know that just having technology does not make sense in terms of business creation. But let's imagine combination of some talented people and some the business intelligence or market insight. I like to see what's going to happen. I think that maybe the new market opportunity or business possibilities, I like to see that. So the NECX is now just started, but any feedback or comments afterward, I like to.
Yes, that's right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nishihara-san.
And now, thank you. Now we have a few projects following the dot data, and he is in charge of this one. And as I said, also NECX provides opportunity for potential users and solution partners to try out our cutting edge and brand new technology. And as what I would like to say is we can export our commercialized project, technology like NEC Israel. Not only this one, we also export early technology inside the NEC Laboratories. It is not open to the outside, but it's kind of the alpha level technology. But we export this one to accelerate the collaboration with partners. And also, I'd like to point out the other one. It's a Vector Engine Data Acceleration Center. NEC has a supercomputing hardware, and we made it in the vector processor inside a small box. It's a kind of the networking card. And that card is pretty good for AI processing in some type of application, sometimes 100 times faster with Apache Spark compatible API. And we provide these kind of the hardware data center system to partners or maybe just anybody who are interested in this technology, probably data science people. Then that closed my presentation. Let's create the future technology. And that's my, that's finished. I finished my presentation.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
So Nishihara-san, if you don't mind, I want to ask the first question. So one of the real typical problems with a startup company trying to do anything in Japan is establishing trust. You know, because you don't have a long reputation in the company. You know, a startup company wasn't started in 1899. How can this sort of outbound, if you've got these advanced technologies that a startup company or a business person here might use, how do those discussions actually happen? This might be something for Ihara-san too, but how do you do this?
I mean a discussion.
Right. How do you really get the discussion starting and the outside people? How you know? Maybe let's go back to dot data.
Okay.
Did the researcher from NEC want to leave NEC?
No, actually, no, actually, and he's a key person, and he's a more like a leader of the NEC project, and still he has a very good passion for NEC, but we think of the goal.
Yeah.
How to accelerate he said that the person, say that if you make a commercial in the 2 years, computer will come out. So that research is meaningless. That is a comment of himself. And we discussed how to do that. So maybe we need to use outside engineering power or outside style of the innovation, outside, I don't know, information with the customer, something like that. So that we conclude that the best way to make it happen it probably will make a different organization.
So can you say what kind of things came in from the outside into dot data? Not from NEC. What came in from the outside? Venture capital.
Currently, I'm not obliged to say everything.
Okay, sure. No,
So
and you're not, you're
I mean,
right.
Yeah, so main business is still going on. So,
Yeah, okay.
But I think that especially they use that a good engineering person in the Silicon Valley or
Okay.
other areas.
Okay.
And also they have a very good discussion with other customers or maybe the capitalist people
Okay.
in Silicon Valley. So they get a very good, and actually, you know that I mean, making the commercialization, we need multiple pivots,
Yeah,
which means very good feedback from the real customer.
Right.
That kind of information is the most important. And he gets those kind of information in the Silicon Valley.
is it easier for him to do that with the name dot data than it would be with the name NEC?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I think NEC is actually a very good branded reputation
Right.
for our customers. And because NEC has large company
Yeah.
and established capital and the process to manage engineering research. And I think that kind of the NEC's reputation affect his activity.
So ideally, how often would you like to see this happen?
How often?
Yeah, would you like to see one or two a year or more or less?
More.
More. Okay,
We need more.
okay.
I think that is a good start, but
So one of the issues is the fear of being inside the big company and talking to people on the outside. Would they talk to NECX first, or how would this proceed?
For the
Yeah, would somebody, a researcher inside NEC Labs,
Yep.
would they talk to NECX first, or what?
I think
How do you do the next version of dot data?
Yeah, I think
Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, you're in the church.
Okay. Yeah. So
You're on the hot seat now.
yeah. So the basically that my understanding that the motivation in researchers to make it business.
Yeah,
That's for sure. So from them, who gonna help the process?
okay,
As Nishihara-san mentioned, that the original structure is not throw the technology to the business unit in
Right.
Japan, but the avenue gonna be the business side. So usually they get some advice from the business side whether this technology can go more outside
Okay.
potential or not. But usually they do not like
yeah, okay.
keep it inside.
Okay,
But we believe that the technology has certain potential in the outside NEC existing business. So in that sense, I think that as a CTO Nishihara-san gonna pick up or some very the
so this
strong
person is
message.
now living here in California, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Okay,
Yeah, this company is located in I think I don't know where place, but
San Mateo.
San Mateo.
Right now.
okay. And NEC was able to help make this happen here in San Mateo. That's kind of unusual.
I think so.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and also NEC is trying to sell their product to NEC Japan customers.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have,
Yeah.
as you know, we have the customer base in Japan. So our expectation is that having some good technology or good products from the new company.
Yeah,
to-
we have
to
a
go to the
reselling
Japan
right in
Yeah.
the Japan market.
Okay,
And I think also the NEC has the best knowledge about the technology, his technology. So we are separated, but still we are in NEC in a good position to utilize those technology for our
Sure.
businesses.
no, and actually setting up a POC arrangement with a Japanese customer would take a long time in Japan too,
Yeah.
right? I'm sure that could be done faster here.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
All right.
probably that take based on the NEC from this the structure is a little bit lower than internal business model. Yeah, we're gonna open up some stake to the outside stakeholders. But in total, value created both NEC and the new company gonna increase.
Nishihara-san, would your vision be to create an NECX in other places besides Silicon Valley too?
It's possible, but I think the Silicon Valley is the most appropriate place right now.
Okay.
So, and, unless we can succeed here, success here is a first priority.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's open the floor to questions. Go ahead.
It's Jack Mormon, U.S. Japan MedTech Frontiers. NEC is a famous company and, of course, very well respected. This is, however, a new venture, and if you would agree, in a simpler world, we have innovative commercialization companies that are either tech push, where there's technology that's trying to find a market, or unmet needs, where there is a market trying to find a solution. In Silicon Valley here, in general, we're more interested, if you will, in unmet needs, where there is a chance for some disruptive innovation. If you have an unmet need and are doing disruptive innovation, the cutting-edge technology is not of interest unless you know that it in some way will enhance your ability to meet that unmet need. How will NEC let these startup companies in Silicon Valley and elsewhere who have an unmet need know what technologies they have so that they can look at the catalog and decide whether or not it would make any difference in their
So the point is that maybe the seeds-oriented innovation, or maybe kind of the market and the solution.
Well, I think Jack's point is that a lot of innovation in Japan looks like it's seed-driven, whereas here we tend to be more need-driven.
Yeah.
And if you've got people on the business side looking for needs, how can they find out what opportunities they are to benefit from this outbound open innovation?
Okay. And I don't deny the both strategy. And actually, NEC is doing also the solution and market-driven technology innovation. And but that is a different story. And that is not, reflect in this figure. And I guess the solution or market-driven technology is much more related with this type of the area. And we did it different type of scheme, not this one. And in terms of, back to the question about of you, and maybe in case of that, how to make needs, market needs based on the technology, which means that I think the only way is that we expose every technology, every patent asset, or every capability of the people to the good customer people or business people to outside. And we hope they can have give us some hint or suggestion to do that.
Do you think that this will lead to more direct communications between NEC researchers and people outside?
Yeah, I think definitely those kind of the things is required, and may not be a researcher itself, but maybe a kind of a good translator who know that the technology also does some business aspect of it. And the NECX should be the kind of the company to do that.
Okay. Wanjan, I saw your hand next. Why don't you ask next?
Okay. So I kind of have two questions. The first one is, in the dot data case, the top researchers of NEC Lab came out of NEC and become CEO of another company. That is that I definitely understand the relationship, the good relationship and friendship NEC is benefiting from the new startup. But is there a fear that the NEC Lab is losing its top brains? So this is my first question. And my second question is, dot data is based on that NEC has a technology and NEC wants to make use of technology. So it's based, the new company is actually based on technology. So is there another case, for example, that NEC sees sees an opportunity in this business, but it doesn't have the technology yet. So it establishes a startup outside NEC and recruit the top researchers to work towards the business opportunity. So if there a case like that, so that's my second question.
Okay. So the first question is, as you said, there is some fear that we lose the good researchers, but I think, in my understanding, in any way, good researchers seek the opportunity to make their research impact to the society or the company. Unless they have that kind of opportunity inside the NEC, they will leave NEC. So, so in that sense, anyway, we need to define that a good opportunity for him and good environment for him. That is, I think, only way to keep him expanded the NEC circle and feedback his talented capability to the NEC business. So that's my understanding. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And now the second question.
And the second question is, you said that maybe we can define the missing point and push the good researchers here and to make it happen. Yeah, I think I agree with that. And I think that discussion is maybe related with discussion with him, which means that we need some define a market segment and there was a solution segment and put some current technology and startup technology and see some missing core. And that is we have done in another scheme. And I think definitely is. But even to do that, we need a good information inside here, not a limited information through the current channel. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is an interesting kind of application between, you know, what NEC has that's really strong, but the whole world is a very big world. And you already have research labs in now, what, 7 different countries in addition to Japan.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And also, as CTO, I'd like to point out that this is the new challenge, but also this kind of the process is also very important for NEC. And actually, this process is now maintained at the NEC strength right now. And I'm also in charge of this one.
Right.
And, but making the new growth area, new outside area, we need to think about the different type of the scheme.
Okay. So I've seen several hands. People have been raising their hands. I got to say, Prakash, I saw your hand first. You're down front. Go ahead. Why don't you ask?
My question really is a melding of the two questions that were asked, Richard's question and the lady's question. Do you see a dot data like company set up by a total stranger to NEC?
Total stranger?
So a dot
Not
data
somebody
company.
who's worked with NEC for 25 years and is known to you, so the trust factor is taken care of. Yet he's very bright and he's not an employee of yours. So to you, to NEC, he's a stranger. But he's got bright ideas and he understands a certain segment of the market. And the question is, there may be a way of marrying some things that are inside NEC with what he is doing to produce a viable product. Do you envisage that, or do you see this as largely being a way for you to use your own employees and throw them out like cuttings of roses into the garden?
So first of all, from the company top point of view, and if that new company invented by the outside people, and still their intention to make a good relationship with NEC, it doesn't matter. We just incorporate with them because the goal is not personnel scheme or something like that. It's the goal to make a good solution, good goal to somehow.
And accelerate the time to commercialization,
Yeah,
the commercialization
right.
time. That makes good sense.
Yeah, and it's okay. And as long as these people have the good relationship here, but maybe this new company invented by outside people may have a lot of good friends outside the NEC, And maybe I don't
see it
know.
as a variant of inbound technology. I see it as part of your outbound, but where you are observing and noticing people who deserve to be encouraged and who you can then put in touch with your technology. So that's why I gave the example. It's not rose cutting.
Well, and I will give my opinion. I see a possibility for industrial development arbitrage here because a lot of data analytics have moved forward here faster than they've moved in the Japan market. And so this would be a significant speed up possibility to send somebody from NEC over here to develop the market here and then gradually build up what has to be built up with the old traditional customers in Japan. That this could definitely happen first. I saw your hand. Yeah.
Yeah, I see a tension between, you talked about a little bit, the inbound group, the process that already exists, that you've got, I assume, lots of business units that are somehow funding the R&D, want to be customers of the R&D, yet they see potential competitions, competitors. Could you talk just a little bit about, first of all, the allocation process of how you determine internal development? What you're putting your research in based on internal customers? And then the next step will be, how do you see tension, managing the tension between this new outbound and that other?
Okay. So when I start this kind of activity in NEC, so we have a lot of discussion with the business unit, and definitely when I push out some groups outside the NEC, that kind of delivered by those teams cannot compete with the current businesses, and we have to be very careful of that kind of thing. And so there are a lot of management discussion, and so that's my answer. So many discussions.
So just so I understand, you're saying that there's internal discussions and some prioritization of your projects and how they're funded, driven by business unit direction. This is all incremental business outside of what those business units would do. Is that sort of the general focus of NECX, is non-competitive spin-outs?
Or pre-competitive. Well, non-competitive with the current business unit activities. I mean, for sure, I would guess it has to be. But it's interesting because this is clearly a people discussion. I should say that for 7 years now, NEC has been one of our major research supporters. And one of the things that we're doing are surveys of startup companies worldwide, in particular areas of new technology. And so I know that NEC Labs, in some ways, has a very good knowledge of the most recent trends on the business side of startups. I would expect, and this is Richard talking, right? I would expect that the business units are very customer-focused and customer-driven by what the existing customers, many of whom are in Japan, where a lot of these analytics have not developed as much. A lot of the new businesses here have not really reached Japan yet. So in some ways, Labs is more up to date in their knowledge of new business than are the business units. I can say that, don't you say that.
But anyway, we have to choose the business domain carefully. And new activity cannot compete with the current businesses. So that, but in that cases, in the data cases, it's total new areas, which doesn't exist in the current Japan. And actually, but making the data, that deliverable could be very good, generate a good business even in Japan for the new customers. So how to define the domain or something is important for large companies.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much for the presentation. My question is decision-making governance of the R&D ecosystem. So, so who decides this project is connecting to startups or not? Especially in the NEC's headquarters. So, maybe similar to have special. So I'm wondering if there will be some competent happen. So who decided this is a startup or not?
So I think the technology deliverable comes from the outside NECX and the current laboratories. And but I think to make a new businesses or maybe find a new opportunities, I think that the NECX should be in charge of. So otherwise, that maybe outside people doesn't know the situation in the Silicon Valley. So I think NECX should lead that kind of thing.
The question is really who sells? Does NECX sell to the labs or does the lab sell to NECX?
Sell.
The idea of setting up a dot data like something. Does the lab say, we have this interesting technology, what can you do, Mr. NECX? Or does NECX say, we've got all of these opportunities, tell us which one of you would like to work with us to exploit?
Yeah, I think that what the laboratory can do is expose the old technology to the NECX. And the NECX has some kind of the interworking process with the outside people and also the NEC technology. And that generates some kind of the opportunity of the new business, of the new solutions. Okay. We cannot, yes, maybe sometimes from the strategic point of view, NEC headquarters want to do something in some areas, and maybe I may ask him to make some special project, that kind of thing. But I think it's more like ordinary process. It's more special.
I've been in that position, that's why I'm saying it's a very hard job.
Yes, very hard job.
Let me.
I see several hands go. Right. Ihara-san, did you want to say something?
Yeah, a little bit.
Go ahead.
Yeah, going back to the question, my mission is to create the option scenario. The option A is do business within NEC. Let BU take it. Or option B, which will be created by NECX, the other option for NEC. So which is the best? So in case of dot data, the speed-wise and the kind of the competitiveness, the executive decided, let's go the outside business model. That kind of things I like to propose to the NEC executive. So that's number one. And then also the technology, the BU side or NEC does not know well about the outside their territory. They don't know anything for the outside world, but then they cannot make a decision whether keep it or let it go. So the actual project is starting from the no decision at all. Then, but we get some approval to let us create some option scenario first. Then we come back to NEC, and which is the best scenario. And I like to fight with the competition inside NEC, but that is the whole idea. And I like to, what I'm saying is probably I'm gonna provide some decision, information or decision, the material to the executive, which is the best.
Okay, thank you. I see several hands. I did see your hand first, I think, and then you. Okay.
So this is Jim Hebert, and I know NEC very well. I've been honored to work with NEC in my previous job. And thank you, Nishihara-san. I have actually two questions. I'll go with a simple one first. First of all, I do see your peer, like Fujitsu, or across the country, Samsung, or in Japan, TD, Docomo, they are doing internal innovation, spin out, like very similar to what you introduced. How do you think what's the difference you're doing and how you think the way you are thinking driving NEC still keep the innovation? That's the first question. And, should I say the second one? Should I?
Let's do this one first.
I do not know many about that competitors' activity, but I don't see any. I mean, Japanese large company make new startups in Silicon Valley, and yeah, maybe some, but I don't see so many, and so I don't have any feeling about that. That's okay. Yeah. I mean, we don't have an intention to compete with a kind of scheme of around the system with other companies. We just think that this way could be reasonable for making the monetization, and now we are trying challenge to this one. Yeah, that's a current situation. Yeah.
Okay. Second question.
Yeah, second question is regarding a little bit related to the spin out of startup. And recently I'm working with a lot of Japanese large corporation. Actually, they all set up a lot of like a satellite office in Silicon Valley. They're probably your customer back in Japan.
Yeah.
And they are looking for all kind of new technologies. I was wondering, NEC, I understand, very, very good at advanced technologies from R&D, your division. And don't you think it's much more efficient and speedy to drive this type of open innovation in the home country, Japan?
Yeah, we do a Japanese domestic research commercialization scheme in Japan, and we have actually. We did a lot of accomplishment in here. I didn't show those kind of things here, but that is an ordinary method. And but in order to obtain the new market and the new type of the businesses, I think probably Silicon Valley is the best places. And so we didn't do so much in here until now, and that is the first step. And also, I like to say, and maybe you may misunderstand something. And the NEC have 1,000 researchers, and 500 researchers is working in Japan. The 5 other researchers working outside of Japan, and dot data cases, and the inventor is a Japanese person. But as I point out, that I don't know. Maybe, yeah, okay, this slide, you see that many other researchers working outside Japan. And, okay, you see the employee of the past employee, like this one, it's very famous people. And he was a post ex-employee of Japan. So my motivation, how to make their capability monetized to NEC product. So maybe you should understand, and it's not a Japanese case. It's more like a large corporations cases, how to use good resources in a large corporation to make something happen. And yeah.
Okay, good. Your question.
Thank you. Mind-blowing presentation, especially that I was raised, grew up within its products, right? I believe that same in NEC as well. Congratulations to the huge change that you're driving. So 2 questions. One is, I was very interested when you talked about your role and responsibility as CTO is to drive commercialization and monetization of great researchers and research technologies. Sometimes the definition of CTO is blurry and also very vague. How do you personally define your role of CTO as a person in NEC? Is it more to accelerate existing business domains with latest technologies, or is it more to disrupt existing NEC? That's the first question. Second question is, I liked when you said outbound open innovation is R&D ecosystem. Ecosystem is something that you refer to the state where players, right, in the ecosystem are fairly and equally connected. So how do you make sure that NEC has a presence, centralized governance in the ecosystem? In other words, with 900 plus Japanese companies already in Silicon Valley, also top-tier AI technology companies already in play in Silicon Valley. How do you make sure that, for example, startups are incentivized to work?
And so about the first question, and I think that, I mean, I know I became CTO last month, and now 35 days passed. So I'm still in the learning process, and definitely I think that CTO's mission is included not only the disruptive technology of the future, but also the very important for the current businesses. And I'm pretty much I feel responsibility for the how to maintain, how to grow up the current business also. And in order to do that, I will do that something other task besides this one. And maybe for open innovation or inbound open innovation is a critically important factor for enhancing the current businesses. And also, as I said, inbound is also important. And I'm working on also disruptive type of thing. And today's presentation focusing on how to make monetization of our technology, current technology, to give a much opportunity to the market side. Okay, so I'm working on that.
And then the second question about incentivizing startups to want to work with NEC. It's a competitive environment. Yeah.
Yeah. Second question. Yeah. So second question is, I think it's a very important but difficult question. And we started this activity last year. And I think we need much more lessons from here. And so maybe we recruit good people who know the style and the ecosystem management. And also, maybe we have to change the mindset of the NEC's researchers or engineers.
Okay, good. Walter?
I'm from SAC National Lab. I have one question. What kind of financial arrangement with the outsider in order to motivate the partnership with NEC?
To the outsider people
Outside
to.
NEC.
Oh, okay.
Financial arrangement to motivate them to work with you.
I will work on that.
That's very important.
Yeah, you're right. I have as a CTO, I have a fund, but let me.
Well, and also,
give time to think.
if I could, again, put in my opinion on this, NEC has some of the world-leading technology. If you're in a particular space, NEC may have the technology you want to work with. So I think that would be part of the incentive.
Right. Yes, and and NEC is a global company, as I explained in the previous, and so many channels to the main company. So which means that if we can use your technology inside our solution, that could be scalable to the many places, many countries, and the many systems. And that can be a good incentive for startups.
So we're getting close to the end of the session. If you don't mind, I'd like to end up with a slightly different question. A lot of what you're focusing on is artificial intelligence, IoT systems that are really hot topics in the news. How do you see the corporate sector moving forward to solve some of the problems with data protection and privacy protection? What do you think would be a good way for industry to move forward in this?
Oh, yeah, it's a very hot topic, right?
Yeah.
And okay, maybe I should show some slides. And we think that kind of discussion is very, very important. And actually, NEC has announced that provide socially acceptable AI. And we need a safety, security, efficiency, fairness of society. So anyway, privacy issues and beneficial issues and human rights is a very, very important factor. So we define this kind of the principle in April. And we are willing to collaborate with any kind of the social sector. So, I mean, it is very simple. Technology should be for the benefit of the people, benefit of the society. We have to be very careful for dealing with that. And that's my NEC Corporation. Yeah,
Okay.
I agree with that. Yeah.
I think that's a really good note for us to end the formal session on. We have refreshments outside. Please stay and meet our speakers. We've got several people visiting from NEC. Look forward to talking to everybody outside. Thank you so much.
Thank you.